2009 is the 200th anniversary of Haydn's death, and he's always been one of my favourite composers, and I know a lot of our orchestra and a lot of our singers really rave about Haydn, and for some reason he seems to be, I think, probably the most neglected and the most underrated of all the undeniably great composers. For our King's Place residency, I've decided to focus particularly on the middle years of his career, when he was employed by Prince Esterhazy and was in this amazingly luxurious position of having his own orchestra, his own concert hall, his own opera house, and being free to compose for them on a daily basis and having this retinue of musicians and audience at his disposal. It's just such a vast wealth of music, and we've got 4 full orchestral concerts where we're mixing his symphonies with highlights from his operas. So each of those 4 concerts will be framed by a symphony, so we have 8 symphonies altogether. And chronologically through the 4 concerts we'll have highlights from all 15 of the operas that survive that he wrote for Esterhaza. Prince Esterhazy himself was a practicing musician, very keen, and so the music that Haydn was writing was specifically written for and performed at Esterhaza, and nobody else would perform that music. It was, you know, he was in his own little bubble. And actually I think some artists might well have got complacent because there was no need for him to, it was a very comfortable existence, very, very cushy. But Haydn's musical drive was such that he set himself ever more challenging, difficulties. There was an opera house built in the grounds of the palace, so as soon as that was open, Haydn was required to write operas and to perform operas by other composers, which was a relatively big part of his work that is now overlooked. But he was having to select operas, rehearse them and put them on. And all sorts of chamber music as well. So whatever the requirement was for visiting guests, Haydn was the man who had to create this brand new music. It's really important, I think, that Haydn's music was written for specific locations, almost exclusively the palace at Esterhaza. And King's Place presents for us a fantastic opportunity to present this music in the sort of acoustic and the sort of intimate surroundings for which it was originally designed. Haydn's orchestra in this period of his life, the orchestra at Esterhaza, was between 20 and 25 players. So we're able to replicate that. And again, I think the music really works with that size of orchestra. The moment you have 10 first violins and 8 second violins, the balance between strings and wind isn't quite the same, and it loses the sense of chamber music, of ideas being thrown around from one instrument to another. You hear these references to old Papa Haydn, and for me it gives completely the wrong impression because his music is so youthful and effervescent, and also quite naughty. I think he's the only great composer, I think, who was absolutely capable of writing genuinely humorous music. In the first concert we're doing on the Wednesday evening, we're doing an aria from an opera which the title translates as the apothecary, or the chemist, and it's set in an apothecary shop, and one of the arias is one of the characters is singing about being constipated, and you can hear in the music this sort of wonderful, sort of ridiculous sort of pushing and sort of struggling to come out with notes, and it's crazy. Only Haydn would have attempted such a thing, I think. Some of the music is fast and furious and very difficult. It sets vocal challenges but also rhythmic challenges. But at the same time, it's very healthy music for a singer to sing, and I think if you're singing Haydn well, you can sing anything well. It's very good medicine for the voice. We've got a total of 9 singers appearing with us during the course of this week, all young, all by now left music college, but all at the outset of their careers. And I think for me, with the Classical Opera Company, we tend to work a lot with young singers anyway, and it's one of the joys of being able to encourage them in this repertoire and to give them opportunities. But to have 9 singers during the course of this week, all of whom are largely new to Haydn's operatic music, it's great to be able to immerse them in that and to present this neglected repertoire. In modern days, we tend to do concerts as a one-off, so you'll prepare, you'll have 2 or 3 days rehearsal with the orchestra, then you'll perform the concert and then you'll move on to the next. What we're doing with this Haydn Week at King's Place, it forces us, because we're doing 4 consecutive concerts, we obviously need to rehearse all 4 together because there's no time in between. So it puts us in a very similar position to Haydn's own musicians. There's a constant flow of new music. And I think that's a wonderful experiment and a wonderful opportunity to immerse ourselves in this music.